Everything you have been told about aging is a dangerous half-truth. It is not just aging. It is silent vascular sabotage. Green tea is not automatically anti-aging. If the catechins are weak, overprocessed, or drowned in sugar, the drink becomes a decoy instead of a defense. And while that mistake repeats in kitchens every day, cardiovascular disease still kills about 17.9 million people a year. You feel the signal long before the diagnosis. The afternoon brain fog. The heavy legs on stairs. The strange drag in your body after routine movement. That is not laziness. It is not just getting older. It is circulation under strain. The pump still runs, but the delivery lines are losing their smooth interior. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, the Japanese physician who stayed medically active past age 100, spent decades as chairman emeritus of St. Luke's International Hospital watching what durable health looks like in real human lives. He became a symbol of practical longevity because he did not sell fantasy. He pointed to disciplined daily habits. Repeated. Ordinary. Cheap. And in long-lived Japanese populations, one drink kept appearing beside lower mortality patterns. Shinichi Kuriyama, MD, PhD, tracked that pattern in the Osaki cohort and reported in JAMA that higher green tea intake was associated with lower all-cause and cardiovascular mortality. Association is not proof. But it is a fingerprint. And fingerprints matter when the crime scene is your bloodstream. Now the trap. What if the green tea in your kitchen is helping your arteries, but the one in your fridge bottle is doing almost nothing? The label says green tea. The physiology may say sugar water with a health halo. And even if you chose the right tea, one innocent brewing habit may be sabotaging the very compounds you came for. Read that carefully. The same drink can act like a rust shield in one cup and a dead ritual in another. But the real question is not whether green tea is healthy. It is what invisible damage inside your vessels decides whether that cup protects you or barely reaches the target. The villain has a name. Oxidative stress-driven endothelial dysfunction with chronic low-grade inflammation. Translate that into plain machinery. Internal rust and sludge in the vascular pipes. Your endothelium is the Teflon coating lining those pipes. When it is intact, blood glides. Pressure stays more stable. Nitric oxide works like a lubricant spray that keeps the tubing relaxed and flexible. Then the sparks begin. Free radicals. Chemical shrapnel. They strike the lining. Nitric oxide falls. The surface roughens. What was once slick becomes abrasive. At the microscope level, the damage is ugly. Oxidized LDL does not just float by. It catches in the scratched coating like grit embedding into wet paint. Immune cells move in. Not to repair cleanly, but to build a swollen patch. Inflammation is a smoldering fire in the wall of the pipe. The vessel stops flexing. It stiffens. Pressure rises against a less forgiving tube. Flow becomes turbulent. The heart works harder to push the same volume through a rougher system. That is why your legs can feel heavy even when the walk is short. That is why your mind can feel foggy by mid-afternoon. The engine still has fuel. The lines are delivering poorly. If your blood vessels are aging faster than your face, what are you actually feeling first? Not always chest pain. Often it is the quiet symptoms people dismiss. Cold hands. Stagnation. A dull ache in the calves. The sense that your body is underpowered by 3 o'clock. Your arteries can feel old before you look old. Pause on that. Your arteries can feel old before you look old. Standard medicine often enters later in the sequence. It treats the downstream gauges. Blood pressure. Cholesterol. Glucose. Those matter. They save lives. But a normal reading does not always mean the Teflon coating is thriving. You can control the dashboard while the inside of the pipe still accumulates friction. That is why a person can feel function slipping before the lab report looks catastrophic. Dr. Hinohara saw this pattern across decades of patients and disciplined longevity routines. Kuriyama's population data gives the pattern statistical weight. The story is not magic. It is maintenance. And maintenance has a second trap. People hear about catechins and rush toward capsules. But before you rush to extracts, there is one version of green tea that can turn from helper to hazard. Concentrated doses are not the same as a brewed cup. That matters more than most labels admit. And once you understand that rusting process, one fact becomes impossible to ignore: the best green tea strategy is not more tea, but the right tea prepared the right way. The drink is unsweetened brewed green tea. Not the bottled syrup. Not the dessert version. Not reckless extract loading. Brewed green tea. This is the form that keeps showing up as the safer food-based habit. Its catechins, especially EGCG, are the workers inside the pipe. They do not scrape plaque out like a wire brush. That would be fantasy. They work more subtly. They reduce oxidative sparks. They calm inflammatory signaling. They help preserve nitric oxide, the lubricant spray that keeps the vessel wall more flexible and less rusted. Statement: green tea protects flow. Evidence: catechins help lower oxidative stress and support endothelial function. Metaphor: they act like a rust shield coating that slows corrosion inside the line instead of waiting for the pipe to seize. Dr. Hinohara's authority matters here because he represents lived longevity, not a marketing slogan. And this is what matters most: the difference between a protective cup and a sweet decoy may be your kettle, not your genetics. Aim for about 2 to 5 cups a day as the observational intake pattern. Not because 5 is magical. Because that is the range that repeatedly appears in the population literature. Cup strength varies. Tea leaf quality varies. So do not turn that into a reckless catechin math contest. If you are caffeine sensitive, use it earlier in the day or between meals. If iron absorption is a concern, do not rely on tea right around iron-rich meals. Precision matters because a protocol is not a superstition. Now the brewing mistake. Boiling water can be too harsh. If you scorch the leaves, you alter flavor and can make the ritual less sustainable. If you barely warm the water or steep too briefly, the extraction may be weak. The practical sweet spot is roughly 70 to 80 degrees Celsius for about 2 to 3 minutes, using loose leaf or a quality tea rather than dusty filler. This is the quiet sabotage most people never hear. They buy the right plant. Then they use the wrong method. The cup turns pale. The catechin delivery falls. They keep the habit and lose the payload. Pair it with lemon or another vitamin C source when you can. Not because lemon is ornamental. Because vitamin C may improve catechin stability and possibly bioavailability. In mechanical terms, it helps preserve the active agents before they break down in transit. One slice. One squeeze. Small move. Better chemistry. And here is the line many people resist because it sounds too simple.